somebody who knows about fitness, Paul is your guy. He is, I cannot explain. He can probably bench press an entire 18 wheeler.
I might have to on this lockdown.
Yeah. He drinks 4 isolene shakes per day and 2 isopro per day to get that protein in his body. But he's an amazing leader and mentor. And when I was first starting out, him and Lynette blessed me with so much knowledge, and I just really appreciate him. And he is going to share some amazing wisdom with us tonight. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce Paul Krueger. Woohoo! Woo!
Hey, y'all.
Yay!
Hey. So, thank you for that, Kimberly. I couldn't be more grateful to be on this because with everything that's happening right now, coming together in a way that is allowed and is safe and beneficial is really kind of where we're at. So, you know, when we talk about opportunities and we talk about things that we have in our life, sometimes we don't know what we have until other things are forced to be taken away. And in this case, what I'm referring to is the rules in place, and this seems to be a worldwide trend, is that we're being forced to eliminate our associations directly with people. I just saw a news clip from the UK talking about how the Prime Minister Boris was mandating that everybody stay in their house. So much so that if you do not follow the rules, you can be there can be consequences. So you're allowed to go outside once a day for a walk or a bike ride or something like that. There's no group gatherings allowed. Events are canceled. Most businesses, non-essential businesses, are closed. And I was hearing this and I was thinking, number one, how lucky are we that we have what we have still at this point? But how lucky are we that we know of other ways to connect with people? And that's what this is about, right? This is proof positive that just because the rest of the world around us is in chaos or living in fear or uncertain, we know what we have, not only within Isogenics, but as a team, as a group of teams, upline, downline, crossline, just teams in general, right? So we're pretty fortunate that we can still come together in a way that brings the positivity, brings some context to the situation, and do we have any control over what's happening right now? And also, where do we go from here, and how do we navigate this from a real practical point of view? Because I think things in a real sense for some people can get worse before they get better. And that's not to instill fear, but it's really to instill a sense of empowerment that if there's things outside of our control that are happening, we have to accept them in a way that not only benefits us as an individual, but as a family, as a team. And then also it benefits us in a way that that we can continue to help people to thrive beyond their current circumstances. So with that, I know this particular call is usually geared towards kind of new training and things like that. And I do want to touch on a few basics first before we get into a few other things, but there's been so many changes and there's been so many upgrades in the industry. There have been some downgrades in the industry, but Isogenics stays stable. Isogenics stays true to its mission. Isogenics stays on course to providing the best experience, not only for the seasoned associates, but also the people that have just joined, that have just jumped on board and found this as not only their nutritional solution, but as a way to create something more for their life. So just a quick background on me. I know Kimberly had mentioned a couple things. So I have been with Isagenix for 6 years, coming in April, actually next month. It's March, yeah. So next month will be 6 years. And these entire 6 years have been life-changing, to say the least. The moment we joined, it was life-changing. 6 years from that day, which is basically now, it's still life-changing. And what I mean by that is the income is real. The possibilities are real. The stability of Isagenix itself is real. The forward thinking of this company is real. And the future casting for your own life in your own business is real. And what I mean by that is, when we're trying to build this business, we're thinking about the technical. But there's something that we taught way back in the day. It's basically your mindset and your energy. I mean, your personal energy. How do you show up in the world? Do you live with a fear base? Do you live with a lack base? Do you live with the kind of thinking that the market has been saturated in whatever way? Do you live with the idea that maybe some of these things might not be a good fit for some people because of the pricing? Well, if that's the case, we need to kind of solve those challenges first, because those are actually all excuses, and all excuses are made up in our head. There's no basis for those beliefs other than our preconditioned ideas about what we think we're capable of. Once we can battle through those things, and I don't mean battle in a fighting kind of way, but more of like a clarity kind of way. If you bring clarity to where you've come from, the conditioning that you're brought up with, and you realize that that's nothing more than conditioning and a message from people that maybe had good intentions, but kind of led us astray in really seeing the possibilities of what we can create for our own lives, then we forget that we actually hold this power and we can create whatever we want for our life. So when we're talking about the technicals of Isagenix, isagenixbusiness.com is the answer, right? You can ask the person that enrolled you. You can ask other team members. You can ask other people on other platforms that are involved with Isagenix. You can ask your regional sales manager. You can ask a lot of people. You can even call customer service and they have some answers for you. But those are all very easy to find, right? So what should we be focusing on from day one? Well, it's connecting with people and enrolling them and giving them the best product experience that you can possibly give them. And that is combined with a few things. Number one, when you're connecting with people, it's not a what's in it for me kind of position. But when you're connecting with people, it's what's in it for them, and why would they care to connect with me? Well, the reason they would care to connect with you is because you have something for them that's over and above their current opportunities in their life, and that will also solve a problem. So we have a handful of solutions that we can solve problems for. Number one being nutrition. That's the easiest one. That's the easy go-to. A lot of people don't know what they're doing nutritionally. So when we're talking about, hey, what kind of nutritional solutions have you explored with your health? Well, I haven't explored anything. Perfect. I have something that I think you're going to love, right? And it's not about starting with, I need somebody in my business. It's about, they have a challenge with finding the right answers for their nutrition to get in the best health of their life. I used to say get in the best shape of their life, but really shape of the body is nothing more than a response to the health of the body. And once we can get somebody in the best health of their life, then the shape automatically unfolds, right? So I'm sure some of you, a lot of you have had experiences with isogenics where it's like magic. You start drinking the shakes, you start following the protocol, 2 shakes a day with your ionics in the morning, then the natural accelerator throughout the day, and then your cleanse on your cleanse days or at night or however you take it. All of a sudden the body magically starts to work in ways that maybe you have not been familiar with because you didn't know how easy it was for your body to come back to balance until you start filling the body with the really good stuff and getting all the garbage out, right? So now, number one, we have that nutritional solution. Number two, and this hit me like a ton of bricks these last few weeks. Never in my life will I be stuck in a position so vulnerable and so out of my control. Never in my life will I ever accept that or let that happen again. And what I mean by that is Isogenics has been very good to us. This company has been consistent, and it's been reliable, and it's been real, like I mentioned before. And it's been ironclad in their promises to making the associates experience the best possible. And when they're at corporate, they really are looking for all the ways that they can make our lives better so we can spread the message faster and more exponentially, right? But when things around us crumble, I'm talking about from a society position, I wasn't prepped. I didn't have 500 rolls of toilet paper in my house, right? I mean, who does? I didn't have an extra freezer full of food. I didn't have any backup plan, let's say, if the whole business community crumbles, right? But here's what I do have. I have the association with a company and a team that sees a bigger picture in controlling their lives, building a future for themselves, and owning every single day that they live. And what I mean by that is, no matter what happens around us, if chaos ensues, we know that we have still the nutritional solution. How convenient is this? How convenient is the fact that everybody's freaking out? Everybody's freaking about the purchase panic, about the run on grocery stores, about the closure of restaurants and facilities like that. But we have food. We have food. It's called isogenics. 2 shakes a day, 3 shakes a day. I don't care. Kimberly mentioned that I drink 4 shakes a day plus my 2 isopros. I wanted her to mention that for a reason, because we have food. It's clean food. It's the best food. And it's shipped right to my house. I'm already self-quarantining. I never leave the house anyway. So when we're talking about from that perspective, we're locked and loaded. All of us have the same opportunity there. Number 2, the business perspective. And this is where it gets huge, because when things are uncertain, Isogenics is rock solid. When things are fear-based, and I don't know about you, but you look at any news channel, any news station, any news article, and it is just overflowing with fear. Okay, there is a real part of this entire crisis. There's a very real side to this where we need to protect ourselves from an immunity standpoint. We need to make sure that we're doing things responsibly, not only for ourselves, but our fellow humans, with not spreading things around when we don't need to partake in that. If indeed we're asymptomatic or we even have challenges with this current crisis. So we need to do our duty as human beings, not just business owners, but as humans. But with that being said, when we have this business at our fingertips, the rest of the world can go into chaos and live on fear, but we don't need to do that. We don't need to respond like everyone else. We don't need to adopt their resistance in this world. We don't need to partake in the fear mongering and the backwards, upside down thinking that most people do. Now, we know that most people are average. That's a fact, right? What is the definition of average? The majority of people, right? It's like the definition. And that's how we know most people are average. And we also know that most people are average because of the way the whole world is reacting to this current crisis. Well, we don't have to play that game. We can respond accordingly. We don't have to react, but we can also partake in a future-based mentality. Now, what does that mean? Nothing lasts forever. Crises don't last forever. Bad things, bad times, hard times don't last forever. But what does last forever is how you think, right? And you have the choice on how you respond, how you react to things. So if you take this as your, if you take this as from a crisis point of view, you're going to respond to things from a crisis point of view. It's going to be fear-based. It's going to be uncertain. It's going to be choices that you would not normally make, you would make, and mistakes that you would make, you would not normally make, because it's fear-based. But if you take a position of power and a position of, I can't control the things around me, but I can control how I respond to the things around me, and I can control what I do from here, then you have your power back, okay? And in the world of the uncontrollable, the person with the answers has the power. And where do the answers come from? The answers come from the opportunities that we're linked to, okay? And opportunities come from the things that we're aware of. Now, we happen to be aware of nutritional solutions. We happen to be aware of business solutions. But from a higher level standpoint, we happen to be aware of the ability to control more of our life than following the whims and the ebbs and the flows of the society at a whole. So bringing this back to isogenics, what do we do from a practical standpoint to make the most of this situation? When people live in fear, we live in courage. When people live in hesitation, we live in bold action. And when people live in uncertainty, we live in certainty, knowing that not only do we have the opportunities for people to fill in the gaps and solve these problems, but we have one level deeper, which is we have the peace of mind that we can continue forward in full confidence, regardless of what everyone else is doing. Unless the whole monetary system collapses in this world, isogenics is going to be fine. And we know that this is not the position the world is in. The position the world is in is they're uncertain about a thing that they can't see, a thing that they don't know how to fight, and a thing that we feel really kind of hopeless to in controlling it, because it's spread by certain processes in certain ways. And it's hard to feel confident when you can't see the enemy. But if you know that the enemy is nothing more than the response to the challenge, then you can change your response and then the enemy disappears, okay? So with that in mind, let me pull it back to isogenics. There are promotions going on right now. There is a compensation plan that is probably the best thing that I have ever seen. And I've explored a lot of different compensation plans. Some people would think, why do you look at other companies and the other compensation plans? This is what I do. This is my livelihood. And I am an expert in my field. And this is part of being an expert, is understanding what else is available and how does it compare to my opportunity. Not in a way that I'm fearful that someone else might be offering something better, but in a way that I understand that what we have is the best. Now, if you don't believe that right now, we need to get you there. How deep is your belief in the company? How deep is your belief in the products? How deep is your belief in the compensation plan? And how deep is your belief in your ability to turn this into something more than just a couple products or a nice call on an evening? What is your belief in your ability to turn this into a fully health transforming experience through the products and a life-changing financial reset for you and your family? If we can pull all those beliefs together, we can start to create something amazing. So first thing, let's build our belief. How do we do that? Number one, with the company's solid in uncertain times. The compensation plan is still available in uncertain times. The money is real in uncertain times. And the opportunity is the same for you as it is for me, as it is for Kimberly, as it is for the 20-star platinum, wherever they may be. They have the same opportunity. They do exactly the same thing that you'll do from the get-go. They enroll a new person. They give them the best product experience, and then they help them spread the word. The 20-star platinum does the same thing as the brand new associate to become a consultant. There's no difference. The difference is in the belief, and with the belief difference, we have a difference in response. So if you build your belief as if you're the consultant already, as if you're the manager already, as if you're the director or the executive already, then the actions behind it will be much more certain, be much more confident, and it will move the message forward for the person that you're talking to in a way that they know that they're in good hands, teaming up with you, not only from a product standpoint, but from a business standpoint. They know that you're associated with a lot of good people that can help them get the answers that they might need. And then move from associate to consultant to manager, director, and executive and beyond in a rather quick manner, because when we're talking about building a business, Kimberly mentioned that we're 5 stars. That it's whatever it is, right? That doesn't really matter to me about titles, but what does matter is when you put out a goal for a specific rank, you don't start by thinking I want to become this, I want to work towards getting to this rank. You think, I'm going to hit this rank, now what do I have to do to become it, right? So when the vision is clear, the work becomes clear. When Lynette and I were working towards 5-star, we weren't acting like managers. And I don't mean act as if or fake it till you make it. What I mean is, what does a 5-star do? That's what I'm going to do, because that's where I'm going. Let's bring it back. What does an executive do? Now do executive things. Guess what they do? They do the same thing as what platinums do. And that's why I brought that up. Because when we figure out that the functionality or the techniques or the mechanics of the business are the same for the brand new associate as they are for the platinum. And if you don't know the platinums, they have massive businesses, and they have second business centers, and they have a lot of cycles basically coming into their income on a weekly basis. But it's nothing more than a magnification of what they did as an associate to become a consultant, because that's what platinums do today to solidify their business centers, to solidify their stability in their business. They go out, they connect with people, They help them get started. They give them a great product experience. Then they help them understand the compensation plan in a way that they can spread the word to the people that they know, love, and trust, so that they can have the same benefits they've just experienced. So with that in mind, we know that the process of going from associate to consultant is very simple. Now, if we can get the belief behind the process, now we have something we can work with that is an unstoppable force. And now the magic of energetic manifestation, and I don't really mean that in a woo-woo kind of way, because I don't really believe in the fluffiness of the woo-woo stuff. What I do mean is there's a picture that all of you have in your mind of who you are and what you're capable of. If that picture is in a line with a higher level of success in this opportunity, you'll find the process to be very easy. If the picture is not in a line with the high level success of this opportunity, then you'll start to hit roadblocks consistently, and you won't know why. But if you can understand that it's just a picture in your mind, and we need to learn to let go of the pictures that don't serve us, and we need to learn to adopt new pictures that do serve us, then we have the mechanism in which we can change anything in our life. Because once we have a new picture, we have a new program for our subconscious mind. And once we have a new program, the subconscious mind will unveil the new actions, beliefs, behaviors, and and thoughts that will naturally bring a new result because you have a new program. So let me back it up just a little bit. Number one, belief. Where's your belief? Do you believe that we live in a time that we should be basing everything on a fear response? No. Do you believe that you have an opportunity that is above and beyond any crisis that can show up in our life? Absolutely. If you don't, we need to explore why and get there. It's worth it. Get there, right? The next belief. Let's build a belief in the company. Let's build a belief in the products. Let's build the belief in ourselves and our own ability to create the wealth and abundance that this industry and this opportunity has promised. And not only promise, I do mean promise. If you do the work, I promise you that you will have the wealth and abundance that you think that this opportunity can bring you. It's almost a guarantee, except I can't say that it's a guarantee because it's not allowed. But if you put the right work in, you're going to get the right outcome. It's just like there's no mystery to becoming a doctor. You go do the necessary things, go follow the necessary processes, put in the necessary work, the same work that others before you have done, and you will graduate and you'll get your degree and you'll get your doctorate or whatever that you're working toward. It's like you wouldn't kind of like wonder, would this work for me if I go to school and I go to med school? And it'd be kind of a weird thing, like if you're always second guessing, okay, now I'm in med school, I wonder if this is going to work for me. Of course it's going to work for you, because you're going to do the same work that is required for everyone before you to become a doctor. So you would obviously come out with the same result. The same thing for the business. If you want to go consultant, do what the others before you have done. If you want to, so ultimately in my head, executive is where it's at. We can talk about consultant and manager and director, and those are stepping stones, and that's a beautiful thing. But set your mind on executive, and you'll naturally move through those
ranks much quicker. The reason being is when you put the goal far out there, what seems to be far, then the stepping stones along the way all of a sudden seem much closer. And then when you can prove it to yourself that you do have this power of manifesting things in a way that is not only practical from a standpoint where you're putting in the work, but from a thought standpoint where thoughts do become things, when you can prove that to yourself, then you know that then you know the power of setting bigger goals beyond what you currently think that you're capable of. Because the same energy it takes to imagine yourself as an executive is the same energy it takes to imagine yourself as a consultant. It's just repeating the process after that. That's why there's an old saying of the same amount of effort it takes to manifest $1 is the same amount of effort it takes to manifest $1 million. If you don't understand that principle, then it's hard to understand what I'm saying here. And anyone can understand it. The reason being is the energy and the work is still there. It's just what is in the intention behind the energy and the work. So we can either put the work into the compensation plan and follow it to a T, or we can doubt the process and think that it's not going to work for us. But when we go to the gym, for those of us that have wanted to get in shape or are in shape, if we go to the gym and we're not getting results, is it the gym that doesn't work? Or is it you? Gyms always get people results 100% of the time when they put in the work. The people that are confused are the ones that think that because I go to the gym, I deserve this result. No, because you put in the work at the gym is when you deserve the result. And you've got to put it in consistently, and you got to put it in diligently, and you got to put it in with patience. Because patience is king when you're trying to create something other than what you're used to. Somebody who needs to lose 100 pounds is in the same journey as somebody that lives in poverty and is trying to get out of poverty. It's the same thing. It's just the subject is different. And when we talk about changing any aspect of our life, it has to start here with our belief. So if I'm going to pull it back together here, because I like to go on and on about similar things, we have to start with the belief, the different levels of belief from every angle. And I'll just go them real quick again. Belief in the industry, belief in the company, belief in the products, belief in ourselves, and belief in the compensation plan. I put that out of order, but all 5 beliefs must be in place. If you don't have 100% rock solid belief on those 5 different levels, it's worth it, especially while everybody's quarantined, to sit in peace and quiet and clarify your levels of belief and expand on why maybe one is lagging or why one is strong and the other ones aren't as strong. Once we pull that up, put it together, then the work becomes easier. Now, I'm not one to preach about getting yourself right before you ever take action. And in fact, I think that's probably the worst way to approach this. What I mean is some people think they have to be perfect before they're going to get results in this business. The best way to get perfecter, that's not a word, but the reason I say it that way is because it's ridiculous, right? It'll stick with you. The best way to get perfecter is to do the work. Kimberly had mentioned that I may have the ability to bench a semi-truck. That may or may not be true. I've never tried a semi-truck. However, I can move some weight. But what you guys haven't seen is the tens of thousands. I don't know. I kind of calculated it a while back, but hundreds and hundreds of thousands of reps that I've done. Some of them have been amazing reps. Some of them have been horrendous reps where I've hurt myself and I thought my life was going to end. Some of them have been kind of not memorable, right? But some of them have come to have served me in a way that has sparked the physical transformation that I was looking for. When I started working out in the gym, I was 16 years old, coming out of my backyard picnic table where I first started working out. And I started benching 35 pounds on the flat bench. That's not even the bar, right? When someone's like, oh, I can bench the bar is 45 pounds standard at a gym. I couldn't even bench the bar. 25 years later, I can bench many hundreds of pounds more. But it's not even impressive to me because I've been working towards that. And guess what? The smallest weight in a gym, in a conventional gym, is 2.5 pounds. Okay. That's pretty standard in most gyms in the US. So all I've done, if you look at over the 25 years I've been training and working out, and bodybuilding has been my passion in my life for a long time. So much so that Isogenics was a really good fit for me when it came along. But it's funny how that didn't necessarily serve me in building this business faster, because I had my own misjudged beliefs about myself that automatically ruined my ability to succeed. And I had to get those right for myself. So it really depends on where your beliefs are, because mine were not good in the beginning and I worked hard to change them, and I still work hard. But back to the gym analogy, the smallest weight in a conventional gym is 2.5 pounds. So what did I do to go from, my best bench now is 720 pounds. Okay. When I started out, I was benching 35 pounds. Now I bench 720 pounds. The only thing I've done for the last 25 years is add 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds. Week after week after week after week after week after week after week. Some weeks I would have the best week ever. Some weeks, like I said, I told you I got injured, and guess what? I was set back for 3 months. But even with all the setbacks, even with the missed workouts because I was sick, or because I had to travel, or because now the gyms are closed, which is a bizarre thought to me, right? Even with all the setbacks and all the downs and all the ups, I still made progress. The point being is, you can still mess it up, but if you don't quit, you'll get this business right, right? So 2.5 pounds. Now, when we started this business, I took the same mentality. Where's the 2.5 pounds in this business? The 2.5 pounds is just connect with one more person. Don't connect with 1,000 people. Don't connect with 10,000 people. Don't think you need to be some influencer on social media, because you don't. Don't think you even need 1,000 followers on your Instagram. You don't. Don't think that you need to be anything online, because you don't. Right? But what you do need to do is you need to figure out a way to connect with one more person. Because if you can continue to add 2.5 pounds, then eventually you're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more people in your business than you ever thought possible. And you think, how did this happen? Is I just added 10.5 more pounds to my bench. I had contacted one more person. I stayed focused on the goal, which is starting from your thought, added to the belief, added to the action, added to the process of the actual physical work of going from associate to consultant to manager, director, and executive and beyond. And I do the same thing as the platinums do still to this day, because there's no other magic action. The magic is in the simplicity. The magic is in the basicness, the basics of the process. Guess what I'm going to do in the gym next time I can go to the gym? I'm going to add 2.5 pounds because I know that'll get me to 800, which is where I want to go. And that's just a goal for me. Same thing with personally enrolling people. Just connect with one more person. Eventually, you'll have hundreds of people that you have personally enrolled. Eventually, those hundreds of people will have thousands of people that they've personally enrolled. And you'll have tens of thousands of people in your organization, all one mind, all with rock solid beliefs, all understanding they have the power to create really any kind of lifestyle that they think they deserve. And then from there, they're going to create the limitless possibilities of setting a goal, getting a goal, setting a goal, getting a goal, and reminding people that they have that same power on a daily basis. Because when someone knows that they have actually always been in control of what they create in their life, then their life becomes unlimited. It goes right back. It goes right back to the classic stories that we're brought up on. The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy, you always had the power. All you had to do was click your heels. Or in Alice in Wonderland, Alice is like, that's impossible. And the queen says something like, that's funny because I've done 14 impossible things even before breakfast, right? Because these messages are in our psyche, they're in our culture, they're in our deep understanding of that there is no impossible. The only impossible is the one that we've created in our head, which is a picture in our mind that impresses on our subconscious mind our ability to create the life of our dreams, or our ability to create a nightmare for ourselves in some cases. So with that, if you focus on your belief, if you focus on the practical action, where does that come from? Isagenixbusiness.com. You can ask people over and over and over again, what do I do next? Just add 2.5 more pounds to the bar. And in this case, the 2.5 more pounds is just connect with one more person. If you've connected with 10 people today, guess what the next step is? Don't connect with 10 more, connect with one more, okay? And then after that, one more. And then one more after that. Because you can only control the next rep. I can't control rep number 5, 6, and 7, but I can control the next one. And that's what I'm going to do. If you guys take a standpoint of building the business from that point of view, you'll be unstoppable. You'll rank up. You'll hit the promotions, just like they say. You'll see that the money is real. You'll see that the opportunity is real. And you'll see that when everything around us is in chaos and when everything around us is uncertain, you'll be rock solid in your commitment to owning your life, building your future, and helping others do the same. So that's all I got. I hope it helps.
That was fabulous, Paul. Thank you. It fits in so perfectly with what we need to do today of just staying consistent and adding to our numbers, and 2.5 pounds.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to answer them, or comments or regrets or suggestions.
I have a question, Paul. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yeah, I sure can.
It's Greg out here in Phoenix. Awesome. Love relating. Finally, no offense to anybody out there, but another big guy out there. Been lifting weights my whole life. 700 pounds. I knew Dave Passanel, world's strongest man. He's a friend of mine. But anyways, the one rep thing I can relate, because in my mind, Kimberly's been trying to help me, but I always look at the products too deep and what people think. And I'm always like trying to go too far ahead, too many people. So when you said you can't control those other reps, and the picture in my mind is blowing it for me, because I have a degree in nutrition and health, and I do speaking, and I do all that. And I meet dozens of people as a park ranger every single day of my life. And I want to help people, but all those roadblocks that Kimberly was trying to get me through, I just couldn't get to. I couldn't believe in the company. I couldn't believe in the money. I couldn't believe. I'd go over the ingredients in my mind. Well, people are going to see fructose and they're going to see that. So what I really learned here today from your speech, from your awesome speech, bro, was that it's just one rep. I got to focus. I've done that. I've benched, not 700, but 450 back in the day. As a type 1 diabetic, that was a big thing. But so I relate to the effort. I relate to the concentration of the one rep. And what I think you were meeting there, and what, if people didn't comprehend that, was that takes so much focus to stay on that one rep, so much energy, so much strength of your mind, that if we put that into that one person to help them, that maybe they're going to be that successful rep. They're going to be
Absolutely.
a representative of you and of your efforts to help them. So I thank you for that. I don't know where you got that, maybe from straight above, but that really helps me. The other thing I would ask you today is to help us get past the money aspect. That's huge in America right now, everything. But how people are always like, how can I afford it? That biggest question, Paul, I get from people. How do you expect me to pay for it? And I know it's $10 a day times 30 days is a lot of money, $300, right? I know math. I've been a dad of 4 children. So how can we get past the money to where we get people to say, you know what, I got to invest in myself?
That's a great question. Thank you for the kind words. And that's absolutely what I was meaning is, once we can master the one rep, we can master every rep, and it's the same rep over and over again. And this relates to the connection with people. It relates to helping people get started in a right way that works for them. And it relates to how do we take this to the next level in each step of the business. As far as your question here about the money, to give you a heads up, now, this is just from personal experience, and not only for myself, but then dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I've talked to over the years, hundreds, I guess. But I started out and I was working in a call center, and you can imagine how financially successful I was at that point.
Amen.
It's and it served its purpose, but let's just say there was not too many extra pennies, you know what I mean? So $10 a day in my mind at the time was overwhelming. It was absolutely overwhelming. Like, okay, I can focus on the $10 a day, or I can focus on that this business can get me out of this challenge and position for the rest of my life. Now, that's just for me. But like you're saying, you're coming across people that talk about, well, this is not, it's too expensive, it's this, that, or the other. What I have learned, okay, because I felt the same way, right? That I'm like, okay, I keep hearing this objection. I need to change my positioning, or I need to change my ability to communicate this message in a way that the people that I'm talking to understand that they're going to get more out of this than the however many hundred of dollars that they put in on this message. Now, where does that come from? That comes from, and dude, I was a horrible communicator, and I still work every single day to figure out how to communicate better, because I mean, right there, I'm starting, I still talk like I'm I'm still saying dude and bro and all this stuff. Like, even when I'm talking about business, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I probably should tighten up a little bit. But then again, it's really not about that. It's about, can I convey the understanding that this is bigger than their challenge, okay? And I need to do a little bit better digging, okay? What I call it is, info gathering, or I call it some goal recon, right? So if I understand somebody's motivation, then I can help them understand that this is the answer to the path that you want to go anyway. And all you got to do is take a chance. Just give me a little bit of your confidence right now, and I'll earn the rest of it over this next month or so through a product transformation or something like that. So I didn't have a product transformation that was really relatable, or like people didn't care that I could bench, or, you know, that I was working out, or that I was a bodybuilder for the last however many years. They just didn't care. What people love, and let me ask you if this is true for you. When you got in isogenics, what was it about the products that you saw as something that would be beneficial for you? Is it that it would complement your nutritional requirements with the diabetes? Is it that this was more convenient for you? I mean, what was it?
Oh, definitely for me, I was seeking an answer to cover my nutrition, because being diabetic, the food out there, I had gotten heavy, to be honest. I had gotten really heavy with body fat, not with muscle. And I was struggling as a certified trainer, nutritious, all this. I had let myself go down with my nutrition, not eating right, just craving all kinds of junk like everybody else, falling into the sad diet, you know, big sandwiches after church, junk. So when I saw these people at Kimberly's house, it was Christmas, it kind of changed my life, because I was like, what are all these people talking about isogenics? And then I was like, there must be something to this, because these people are like ecstatic about it. And it just was a really freaking warm Christmas party if I've ever been to one. And so I was kind of amazed by that. And the next day I called up that morning, and Kim was talking. I thought, you know what, this is going to change our lives. I'm going to change as a trainer. I'm going to change as a person. And I can't wait to put this and cleanse my body out. And it worked. And I started losing the body fat, and my body fat's better than it's ever been. I'll be 57. I'm climbing mountains. I look back at those pictures, Paul, and I get sad. I'm like, how did I let myself go? How did I let myself become such a piece of junk on the planet, that I looked that bad as a smart guy, a family guy, a dad, a good neighbor, everything that I was as a person? To me, when I look at those pictures, I let myself go from what I believed in. So I went after the product as a solve-all, basically, at that time, to eat what I could, grab it. I started feeling like crap. I took the shakes, but when it went, it worked. And then when I got better, I kind of fell off, and I started thinking, well, I don't really need it, and that was wrong. And then I realized I'm not covering my bases for my nutrition. So for me, as a diabetic, and even just as an aging male, it's huge to cover my base. So no matter what happens in my day, if I got the bar, if I got the shake, and now the oils, I was a big believer in the oils. And so my degree is in health and wellness, actually. So everything that I had learned, it did provide. But sometimes we, as an expert mechanic, if I was a mechanic, each car is different. So each person's different to me. So I'm like, oh, do they need this fructose, or do they need this many carbs? So, you know, cut the shake in half. Or is whey, now everybody's talking about whey, and whey came from China, but no, the whey doesn't come from China. So all these multi-fields in my brain is so fast and complex that I actually have trouble pushing it sometimes, because I will undercut myself with too much thought. So for me, when you just said that, that's what I'll do. I'll write that down and say, what did it do for me? And now you made me go back to that in a way, or ask me to go back. That really helped me, because now I can go, that's why I did it, because Kim said it would change, and I gave it a shot, and it did change me. So I have to hold on to that power thought, honestly, just from that moment of learning what you just said.
That's it, brother. So here's the lesson here. You have a powerful, transformative story. Use it. Okay? Use it. Okay. You don't have to convey everything all at the same time. You just need to start to tell your story in a way that the other person that you're connecting with understands that this was life-changing for you. Okay? That this is something, and I mean that in a real way. We know when there are medical challenges, that could cost you your life. Okay? I'm not saying that isogenics is a nutritional solution that can cure or reverse any condition or anything like that. But what it does do is it's good food that feeds the body and gives the body the opportunity to come alive and do what it needs to do. So when we're talking about connecting with people, if they're asking about the money, okay, which is back to your original question, let's bring it. Let's start to redirect the conversation. And dude, I love the fact
that you're looking at the ingredients and you're deciding, is this right for this person or that person? Let's get rid of all that. Okay. And I know that's how you're trained. And I know that's mostly beneficial from a conventional standpoint. But when we're talking about isogenics as a whole, and I don't mean this in the way that isogenics is the best brand in the world. Yes, I truly believe that. But from a product standpoint, if we took the label off the bottles and it was just ingredients and we didn't have any association attached to this particular bundle of ingredients, these ingredients consumed by the majority of people will give them the best result possible. We know this to be true. There are studies that back it up, and there is medical science that does solidify these findings. So when we're talking about people giving us objections about money, we need to take out the logic of it all. We need to take out the facts, and we need to connect with the emotion. And the emotion comes from your life has been changed, your life has been transformed, and your life has been enriched in ways that you didn't even understand before you drank your first shake. You just took Kimberly pure faith and confidence that, okay, well, I believe you. I'll just take a chance just this once. And it was all emotional. There was no fact behind that. There was no logic behind it. It was like, it was all emotion. So if you can connect with the emotion of the person, then the money doesn't matter. And I'll tell you what, dude, even in times like this, I still train people on the side. Okay. And there's the bottom line is people have the money for the things that they think will give them a result. And if the belief is in you, then that is exactly where we want them to get. If they believe you when you tell them to eat chicken and broccoli this many times a day, then they should have the same belief, because you say that with confidence. Here are your macros. Here's what you need as far as vegetables and lean proteins and carbs. You say it with confidence because you know this to be true. Now learn to adopt that same confidence with these nutritional solutions. Invoke the emotion in the other person, and the price objection disappears. So I hope that helps, but it really does change the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome. And I've probably been searching that kind of answer for a long time. So I'm definitely putting that in my memory banks, because I think really here I was meant to go on this call. I believe in that because I really wanted to know, where am I going wrong? But you totally took it down the street that I needed to travel, brother. So thank you, because that's exactly what I was doing. And I'm like, why can't I sell this? Everybody listens to me. I do diet, nutrition, personal training for 3 decades, man. But I'm tired of writing diets. I'd rather just go here, take isogenics. And that's really the point where I'm at. I don't want to write another diet, because there's enough information out there about diet. I believe that they can get that, but everybody needs a mentor or a helper. And I think that was key, is what you were saying, that I did just believe her. And she wasn't a trainer or anything. She's just the sweetest person I ever met. And we loved her and fell in love with her heart and her compassion and her story about, how it changed her life. And we're not treating, preventing, claiming anything. I get that. I definitely get that with diabetes. And I tell people, I say, anything I say by mistake, I'm a health entertainer. I'm just here to entertain your mind, just to entertain your mind on something that might change your world. But thank you, big guy. That's awesome. And I'm in Phoenix. I hope we could meet someday. I was inspired by you today. So thank you so much for spending your valuable time on here. It was really awesome. I learned a lot. I needed that.
Dude, I appreciate you, man. And congrats on your transformation. And yeah, we'll definitely connect, because it's definitely meant to be. So we'll make that happen.
Right on. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I have a quick question, if that's okay.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Paul. Thank you. And thank you for your guidance tonight. My question is, what does your daily routine look like with working isogenics? So what does it look like? So you get up, what do you do?
So that's a great question. I think it's important, because as entrepreneurs, and we're all entrepreneurs to some degree or another, whether we're full-time, part-time, or spare time, we can carry that title proudly, and we can carry it with confidence in that it's not something we're just carrying around because it's the trendy thing to do nowadays. But this is real. This is a real business. Okay, so it takes some real business functioning on a daily basis. Now, as an entrepreneur, you're the boss, and you have to discipline yourself to create a schedule, whatever that may be, that will serve you and your activities to get you where you want to go. So to bring a little more clarity to what I mean by that, somebody who wants to create $10,000 a month in this business, if they're working 2 hours a week, I can pretty much give you the heads up, that's not enough effort. Okay, we need to match our effort with our desires. We need to match our effort with our goals. Now, the cool thing about Isogenics is you can do it full-time, part-time, or spare time, and you can get results on all of those different levels. Now, I know families and work and activities and other engagements all can get in the way. But this is what I've learned through my experience, and I've learned from the experience of the other, really the high achievers in this industry and in this business. Routines are everything. So when you ask about a routine, what does that mean to you? From a business perspective, it doesn't necessarily matter how I run my day, but I'll give you the heads up on how I do. What matters is how much time can you allocate per day or per week, and how can you run your day in a way that's consistent? This goes back to, I'm just a meathead gym guy that learned to translate his gym experience into business. That's all I know. So that's kind of how I teach. If I don't go to the gym at, let's say, 2 p.m, which has kind of been my process the last 6 years since we've been free with Isogenics, my day doesn't feel right. If most people wake up and don't eat breakfast, then their day doesn't feel right. If we don't brush our teeth before we go to bed, then the routine is off and it feels weird. Okay? Once we can build a habit of effort into our daily routine, then it feels actually more bizarre not to do the work than to do the work. Now, when we think about brushing our teeth, that's very simple, but it still is a degree of work that we have worked into a mindless, habitual process in our daily mode of operation. The same with Isogenics effort. And this can go for any business. Whatever you do have, whatever time you do have, whatever effort that you will commit to put forth on a daily basis, you have to carve it out in a preset manner to the best of your ability and stick to that schedule. Here's my schedule, because this is what we do full time. I typically wake around 7 in the morning, get ready for the day. I spend 20 minutes every morning. I don't call it meditating because meditating is not good for me. The last thing I need is to slow my brain down. My brain is slow enough. That's a personal observation I've had over the years. What I use this time for is to think about the future. I call it future casting. It's my future casting time where I build the pictures that I was talking about during this talk. I build the images in my mind of what I imagine my dream life to be, with my business, with my body, with my relationships, with my ability to impact people, Any level, every level, I touch on all of them. I let it naturally flow 20 minutes. After that, I have my Isogenics organic coffee, and I like to read. I read because I'm a horrible communicator. I read a lot of books about communication, a lot of books about psychology, a lot of books about sales. I know that scares some people, but everybody has been selling themselves and other people for their entire life. The difference is, have we been selling ourselves the right messages? And have we been selling other people the right messages? Because even the bad ones and the negative ones and the ones that hold us up, someone had to sell that to us, either us or someone else. Everybody's in sales. I always read sales books. With that in mind, after that, I get clear. I usually plan my day the night before. The first part of everything that I talked about is very habitual. So I wake up, get ready, 20 minutes of thinking, get my coffee, read my book for about 30 minutes, and then after that, it's work time. Now, work time for me has changed today as opposed to when I first started Isogenics. When I first started Isogenics, it was fit this in wherever I can, however I can, on my work breaks, during my lunch break, at the call center. Told you I worked at a call center. I had 2 15-minute breaks and 1 half-hour lunch. Guess what I did on those 15-minute breaks and this half-hour lunch? I connected with everybody that I knew. I got online and figured out how to connect with new people. How do I expand my network? Where do I go to expand my network? What can I do? I am stuck at a call center. I don't know very many high-level people that have good networks. I still don't know very many high-level people that have good networks because it's not something I was never really naturally good at. So what I did was I tried to look for ways to connect with more people faster. Now, the fact that we can do this business from our house is good and not so good. It's good because we have the unlimited possibilities of the internet and we can connect with the whole world. But it's not good because will you do that? Or will you just say, you know what, I'll get to it later. Millions of people are waiting for me, but I'll get to them later. Okay? We need to take this serious if we're going to create a business out of it. And taking it serious is how much time I'm going to allocate each day or each week. Okay, let's say it's 3 hours a week. I'm going to put in 3 hours a week. I'm going to go consultant my first month. That's a realistic goal. Putting in 3 hours a week over your first month, expecting to make $10,000 your first month, probably not a realistic goal. Now, I never underestimate anybody. But there is a correlation between a level of effort to a result. But when we're talking about the practical application of action, how many people are you going to commit to connecting with? The answer determines on how committed you are to your result. And within this answer of this commitment, a creativity needs to be explored. I don't know where the next 20 people I'm going to talk to are coming from, but I'll find out. I'll find out where. We need to start trusting in our ability to be creative and deploy our imagination in ways that we previously haven't deployed it. And what I mean by that is, if we want a different result than our current lifestyle and our current ability to connect with people, we're going to have to open up possibilities of exploring new avenues to connecting with new people. Have you explored Instagram in a way that is beneficial for this business? Have you explored Facebook in a way that is beneficial for this business? Have you explored LinkedIn? Have you explored Twitter? Have you explored YouTube? Have you explored creating a personal brand, simple personal brand? I'm not talking about a Tony Robbins or Ray Higdon. I'm not talking about that kind of brand. I'm talking about, what do I stand for? What would be my mission? So for example, if I was a mom I would have some type of a mission that would connect with other moms. The fact that I'm a meathead weightlifter, my mission is to help set free personal trainers and other bodybuilders, because I know, like Greg was saying, writing another diet plan is the last thing we want to do. I know that, right? So take your own personal experience. Where are you in your life? What is this connection you have with other people automatically? For me, it's being a meathead weightlifter. And then how do I connect with them? And if I don't know the answer, go to bed every night. And I'm not just saying this as a foo-foo kind of mystical thing. Go to bed every night thinking about, actually not even thinking, commanding your subconscious mind to direct your thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors to work toward your goal when you wake up in the morning in a way that is clearer than the clarity that you have this evening. And I do that every night, and I tell myself, I command my subconscious mind to direct my thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors in a way that will create the life that I desire and enrich other people in the process. I go to bed with that thought every night. Guess what? In the morning, ideas pop in my head. While I'm having my coffee, ideas pop in my head. While I'm connecting with other people, ideas pop in my head. Now you bring a whole another level of self-awareness that wasn't there because you programmed your mind and it basically simmered for 6 to 8 hours, depending on how long you slept. It's simmered in your subconscious mind and it's going to pop out a result. You just have to be aware. So beyond that, beyond my reading coffee in the morning, I continue to do my social media, which I'm horrible at. And then I continue to work the connections that I have in person. Right now, we have a little interesting time where we're not allowed to connect with people in a personal manner, but this is nothing we can't work through. Utilize the things you can do at the moment and then go from there. But I would encourage you, and I do that all day. I just do it all day until I fall asleep. That's my schedule in Isogenics, except for my 2 o'clock workout. But the reason I say that is because there's nothing that I do out of the ordinary. It's just that I might do it more often than most people now because I can. So when we get back to your question is, the reason you're probably asking me is, how do I schedule my day? What would be a good routine for my day? A good routine for your day is find out how much time you want to invest each day or each week. Commit to that time of the day that you're willing to commit to that and stick to that schedule until it becomes habitual. When you can add time, do it. If you have to subtract time, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. This is not an all or nothing business. What it is a stay consistent business with what you have. So with that in mind, the consistency is more important than the magic of the routine itself. So does that help?
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. So when you're connecting, it's really not about Isogenics unless they bring it up, or do you bring it up?
100%. I never bring it up. I do my info recon or my intelligence gathering 90% of the time. It's only 10% of the time that Isogenics comes up, and then it naturally flows into a connection and a contact and a prospect and an enrollment. Okay. What I think people hesitate with is they don't talk to enough people. So they think that I'm talking to this one person. So I don't know of any other people to talk to. So I have to get them in my business. I better bring it up and I better talk to them now. And if they tell me no, then I'm out of luck. That's wrong, right? It's wrong because number one, people are unlimited in this world. And number two, it's really about what's in it for them. If we don't know anything about these people, how do we know what's in it for them? We need to learn about them first, the 90% of the conversation. And then the 10% is, hey, I think I might have something you might be interested in. If I could show you something that wouldn't interrupt what you're already currently doing, would you be open to taking a look at it? That's a line I got from Ray Higdon. That's not magic. I use his lines all the time. He's just a network marketing trainer. And I just ask enough people to where if one person says no and another person says no, eventually somebody's going to say yes. And that's all I'm looking for. You're just sifting and sorting looking for the yeses, but you have to do the same thing. Is you have to get to know the person first in order to see if this is even a conversation. Now, in the beginning, I wanted everybody and anybody in my business. Now I understand when those top leaders say you don't want everybody in your business, I know exactly what they mean. You only want to work with people that want to work with you. You only want to work with people that have a bigger vision. You only want to work with people that have maybe the possibility of thinking this is something better for them, right? Like Greg, he said, you know what? I just took Kimberly on faith and she said it was awesome. And I just drank the shake, and sure enough, however much time has passed, he still loves her products. Kimberly didn't have to twist his arm, didn't have to force the shakes down his throat. I mean, it's a very natural process, but you have to give time for the relationships to unfold to see if it's even worth unfolding. Because some people are not a good fit for us. Some people are not a good fit for somebody's specific team. People are not a good fit for this nutritional solution because they don't understand it. Now, if they don't understand it, usually it's because we need to level up on our communication, but sometimes they're just not open. And when people have a closed mindset or they're closed off to the answers, whether we know it's the answer or not for them, let's say we do know it's the answer, it doesn't matter how right of a fit it is. If they can't see it, it's time to move on. So I'd say just sort and sift through more people, but learn about them first. And I'm telling you, it's worth putting in the time to develop the relationships. You don't have to spend hours and hours getting to know somebody, but you do have to have a certain understanding about what makes this person tick. So you can say, listen, kind of what you're telling me, I might have something you want to look at. If I send you a link, will you check it out? Okay, cool. I'll check back with you later when I send it over. Super simple. So that'd be the best way.
That is awesome, Paul. That was just incredible. And I'm so glad we got that recorded. And I'm so happy to hook you and Greg up because, you know, what does Greg have in common with a middle-aged causal hypothyroid mom, right? The beauty of isogenics, and it's the beauty why we get so many speakers for you guys is you're going to have you get nuggets from each and every person, and some people relate more to one person and one to another, and it's okay, and that's what makes it so special. So thank you so much, Paul. You are just absolutely amazing. Every time I hear you talk, I'm like listening intently, thinking, you know, so thank you. That
Yeah.
was awesome, and we hope that you will grace us with your presence some more, because you
Well, thank you, Kimberly. I'm just a regular guy that keeps on clicking away at the same basic stuff. So gracing you with my presence is funny because you guys are far more valuable to me tonight than you know. So I appreciate you, and this call has been beneficial for me, or more beneficial than you can imagine. So thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, I just wanted to end a little bit with some housekeeping stuff too. They extended the Crystal Manager bonus. It's through this Sunday. So you have until Sunday now. If you have not already hit Crystal Manager, let's do it. Actually, I know that a lot of people think, oh, you know what's going on, it's so hard, people have money. Actually, it's the exact opposite. Sales are exploding. We sold out of our ice powder, our spray, and the shakes flying off the shelves. So don't think, this is actually the time that you need to be reaching out, because people are desperate and they need help. And I don't know if you caught what Kathy Krueger said about whey protein boosting your immune system by 500%. but I did. And I've been using that with every single person I talk to, and the conversation's different. People right now, they might be thinking weight loss, but actually the forefront of what they're thinking about is food, food supply, emergency food supply, immune system, save my family. And we have that option. And if you lead with, hey, let's send you a full supply, 30 days, drop ship right to your door. You don't even have to go to the grocery store or worry. They are listening. And so change your thing. And then secondary is weight loss. And then I find out if they're still working or not, and say, hey, you know what? We have people jumping on board like crazy right into the business right now because they need the money. So people are off of work and they're scared. They're scared, right? Really scared. So be on the forefront with the business too. So those two things. But right now, and happy birthday, Isogenics, 18 years. Woo, woo. So that's a good thing to promote too, that they've been around a very long time. It's a very small percentage of people that in business that last the first year, and look at how big they are and solid. Their business is solid, they're debt free. So you, and because of the market, you chose a good company. But for their 18th birthday, they extended the, so if someone spends, a new customers only, if they spend $150 or more, they get free shipping. I always say free enrollment, even though they get that anyway, but it just sounds good too. So I go free shipping, free enrollment, free quesadilla. And this week you get to choose your flavor of bia. So I love the berry, but I love the citrus. So I'm addicted. I'm a beaholic. And then there is a virtual party that Stephanie is doing tomorrow at 5:30. It's going to be huge. So it is a great call that you can get anybody interested in the product or the business. She's doing it with Kelly Campbell and Michelle Gilbert. It's going to be on this Zoom at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So if you're spending, here's what I recommend, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm spending my whole day and night reaching out, getting people, inviting them to this call, and then allow them to talk. And there's so much power when you have multiple people telling their stories about Isogenics, and you've got all these people on. Use all of that. Get your leads on. Get people who are interested. Invite them. It's they're at home. They're sequestered. You've got their attention. So take advantage of that, and then write in your calendar. So write 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, right here on Steph's Zoom. And then the other thing you need to write down is Wednesday, and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jim Packard and George Campbell are going to talk about the consistency chain. It is huge. If you have problems being consistent, even a little bit, you need to be on that call. Everyone should be on that call. I was able to learn how to be consistent with working out, and it would take an act of God to get me on a treadmill. It works. It works. Anyway, thank you for hopping on, guys. We love you. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Mwah, mwah. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Paul, again. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on.
Thank you, Kimberly and Paul, and thank you guys all so much for being here. Love seeing you guys every single week.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a great night.
Peace out.